You've most likely heard about games like Earthbound, Undertale, Omori, and even One Shot, considered to be more on the lines of a feel-good, feel-bad adventure, full of shock and surprise, but I doubt you've heard of this hidden gem that just recently came out on Steam, called In Stars and Time. This game is, put bluntly, amazing and really pushes that feeling of helplessness and emotional narrative attachment you get from each and every one of the characters that you meet. These types of games are more of a roller coaster of one's mind and soul. If you're willing to go in blind and not spoil the experience for yourself by looking it up, and to simply go with the flow, you will see it for what it truly is when you open yourself to it. Unlike many other games in this subgenre of narrative storytelling, you begin at the epilogue and move towards the final stretch of your long journey, sprinkling in some backstory here and there as you reach the game's end, with your allies pressing towards their last goal, which is to remove the king's curse upon the kingdom of Vaugarde, a country trapped in time due to his powers. I really don't want to mention much else because this is an experience you should not spoil for yourself, one that is both joyful and heartbreaking. Whatever happens, the circle of allies gradually grows closer to one another in their final moments. The storytelling is fantastic, and you'll find yourself crying and screaming at the screen for answers that the game appears to tease you with at every opportunity. I have to admit that the simplicity that they demonstrate does an excellent job of drawing you in when you least expect it. Even without the usage of any fine colors other than black and white backgrounds and scenes, it depicts a bright and beautifully ripped apart world, full of life, death, and change. Their mannerisms and personalities are all unique and interesting, and most importantly, they remind you of yourself and even your close friends. It does a very good job of explaining that everyone has their ability to change, which is one of the beliefs that are centered around the whole adventure. It's just done so well that there's no way you wouldn't feel something a bit more personal, be it through the music that feels somewhat nostalgic and a world you've just entered, but also a world you feel like you've been in for thousands of years. I could make many analogies to Undertale, One Shot, and more, but you might believe that this is just some clone or mirror image of it, which you might dislike and then not even give the game a chance. This is nothing like the others, yet there are so many similarities in the way that they approach the player emotionally, like in Omori through the visually heart-wrenching cinematics. In this world, you use the powers of rock, paper, scissors as a form of combat. Rock beats scissors, scissors beats paper, and paper beats rock. It's a very simplistic approach to the idea, but it works so well. I can see it being very unpleasant for you if you dislike the repetitive motions of restarting and releveling again over and over. And while I previously stated that I didn't want to ruin the experience for you, I'll remark that the game prominently employs a time manipulation mechanic, bringing you back to the beginning of the end over and over again for at least 40 hours. The way the game physically and emotionally pushes you forward to keep you going is what keeps it from being so tiring. To battle for your friends and the family that you've made along the way, I could go through 40, 50, 60, or even 70 hours of the same motions, unlocking new dialogue, new locations, and hidden mysteries to do anything I can to save what I hold dear to me. I'm really not a big fan of most video games that I play, and it's so rare that I become so attached to games like this. I know I'll soon conclude the story and be ripped apart from it once I complete 100% of the achievements, knowing that the next game in this genre will take at least a few years to reach the same level of gripping emotional narrative. And while I don't ask for a lot of things ever, if you haven't heard of this game, please check it out now on Steam and share it with your friends and people that you're close to because it deserves your love and affection.